Hello, everybody. My name is Connor, and we are here with Blue Yellow Queen versus Purple Luffy. Pretty excited to play this game. I was interested to see how Queen would do into a more meta deck, and thankfully we end up getting a pretty solid opening hand with a lot of counter, and I think that that's really going to help us. Especially, I mean, zero cost helps us minimize our hand size. So yeah, that was pretty good hand there, and we get the beige out of our first life. Nothing to trigger it with though, but hey, Sanji, so maybe we can start doing some Sanji shenanigans. We go ahead and poke 6 because we do have the Doflamingo, so we can start sorting the top of our deck. We get the Frenosuke counter, which is fine by me. Doflamingo is going to sort the top of our deck, and we're going to see what we have coming up, what we can do. And honestly, that is looking really nice. Trying to figure out this. I think this one takes me a while. Gotta count, make sure we put the 9 Yamato where we want the 9 Yamato. I think we're gonna try and flip into the 9 Yamato potentially. We do have a Teach coming up, but worst case scenario, he is a counter. Best case scenario, maybe we can Katakuri, put Teach up there, or with Teach, put Katakuri up there. But my opponent goes ahead and taps forward on for the Zoro Juro, just to get the Straw Hat Surge off. And yeah, I mean, I feel like with the list as the purple Luffy list now, I feel like there's a good chance to whiff on the Zoro Juro. I think my opponent did mention that it was tough, but you know, he was able to grab another Zoro Juro, so not terrible. I know that he and I were talking about not having Luffy Taro makes it really hard to get this game to do what we need it to do. So I end up countering out of that big purple Luffy swing because I do want to just kind of start getting my hand size low, and I don't really want to start taking my life. So with the cards I have in hand, there's really not too much to do here. So I will go ahead and I will put Teach there, and not really much. I don't see a reason to teach ability right now. So with nothing else to do, I just load up Queen and swing, trying to get his life low, and he does end up taking that life, and we pass turn. So we've gotten him relatively low. We're low on hand size. I do have the zero cost and the Yamato to use to counter. I also still have the blocker, but I think especially in this deck, I try not to use the blockers until a lot later. Just because I want to minimize my hand size so that I can heal. So he ends up playing 9 Mom, which I was like, oh damn, you're already at 9 Dawn, okay. And that's gonna give him a heal, as well as I think he trashes a card there and then heals himself. Yep, so he's back at 3, and he ends up putting Teach at the bottom of my life, which kind of a bummer. I mean, I'm okay being back at 4 health right now, but yeah, so I just end up taking that, and wow, look, it's a Teach. Give him the beige to get out of the Zoro Juro swing, and with the Dawn we're at now, we are sitting at 8 Dawn. Not in my mind, I was like, oh, I'll just put Zoro Juro in with Katakuri, and then I'm looking at my hand and I was like, ah, right, I countered out with Katakuri. Whoopsies. So just sorting out my Dawn to see what I want to do. I do play the Teach out, just because I do want Teach on the field if I can, and our next turn, we end up dropping the Doflamingo and looking through the top of the deck, getting some decent options. I do want to put the Gravity Blade up there because I think that Gravity Blade is pretty good. And so we get the pudding, and yeah, so we get pudding. We're gonna draw into pudding next turn, and then blind flip, or quote unquote blind flip, the Sanji into the Yamato, which is gonna be pretty helpful, at least for some removal. So We end up swinging really aggressively into, I believe, Zorojiro there, just to get him off the board. That's one less swing. And he does end up countering out, which also works in our favor. So, yeah, I feel like swinging at the characters are times like this where I'm just trying to get cards out of hands and you know, hold on until I can drop my Sanji into Yamato. Yeah, pretty good. So he ends up playing Zorojiro again, getting the Luffy Taro off of his search, which unfortunate for us, pretty solid for him. And he's just tapping his Dawn there, and ends up playing the Blocker Kid, which is actually, I really like the Blocker Kid in Purple Luffy. My current Purple Luffy list isn't running the Eustace Kid that gives you the Dawn back when you minus Dawn, but I kind of want to run it. But I think my 09 list is going to be very similar to the list that you guys saw in the video I did the other day. So he ends up swinging Zorojiro, and I counter out, and I block. Realistically here, I'm thinking, oh, I could have taken, and I could have healed. But I think in my head, I was like, he's at 3 life, I'm at 2 life. I can pop the kid. And I think that's what our plan is here. And with that, I should be able to be low enough to where I can heal with later abilities. So we tap 9, dropping the Sanji and playing the Yamato. And yep, I go ahead and pop the kid. And then with the 4, I have 4 between my life and my hand. And here I am just reading, like, oh look, yeah, I have 4, cool, I'm gonna heal. So yep, we end up going up a life, which is pretty good because he does have some big attacks, and I don't have a ton in my hand, and that's the scary part about Queen. I think it's just that you don't really have you don't have a lot of cards in hand most of the time, especially late game. You don't want cards in hand. You want to be able to heal with Queen if you can. So yeah, definitely nervous about this turn, but the Luffy Taro into Sangoro comes out, and honestly, such a good combination. I love that Sangoro, but knowing as I am a Purple Luffy player, I know that I cannot let that Sangoro stay on field. It's just, he's too good. He gives you too many resources. I mean, an extra draw every turn. So good. So he swings 7 with the Zorojiro and another 7 with the Zorojiro, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I go ahead and just counter out with the 0 cost and pudding, and the 6. So I swing, I get it, and we get another teach, which I just think is so funny. And then he doesn't swing with the Linlet, and we talked a little bit after game. I don't think if he swung with Linlet, I think I still would have been in a good position. But we did just draw into the Gravity Blade. So I am Gravity Blading the Zoro and the Luffy Taro. I feel like that's a pretty decent option, honestly. And then ideally with what I have, I think if I am not mistaken, I feel like I play this pretty well. So yeah, I put the teach on, well, I teach ability, put teach back up on life, just because I want to get the Queen ability off. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything like a Capone or something like that in my hand, but we do end up swinging 7 into Zorojiro and healing there. And we do know it's a teach. Worst case scenario, it is another counter. Best case scenario, it's something good. So we get the 2k out of him for that, and then we decide to swing Yamato, getting the Zorojiro and swing Yamato, and then swing Sanji into Zoro, and we end up clearing the board, and then dropping 2 for the Doflamingo blocker, which lets us sort through some cards. And here I'm gonna put X-Drake on top so I can heal with X-Drake, and the Red Rock so that I can remove the Charlotte Linlin. I just have to I just have to live this turn. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I can do that. It's, I got counter, I got everything I need. I've got blockers. I think I can live this. So he ends up dropping 2 blockers himself, which pretty good. Yeah, really solid option there, just to kind of block her up, because I think he's sitting at 2 life, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe still 3. The layout will tell you guys, but I have not edited the layout in yet, so I am not sure. But yeah, we got 2 teaches in life. We've got the red rock coming. We're probably gonna take a life here, and that is honestly fine by me. Gives me a chance to put something else up top, although realistically now these are things I don't think about during game, but I know that I think the 6 drop is going to be up there. So we block the 9 mom with the Doflamingo, and then he swings 5, and we get the teach, and he ends up passing turn. So we do have the red rock, and yeah, I mean, I think that overall, I think that this is... It's working out. I am definitely worried because we do have a bunch of bricks coming. But I do red rock the big mom. Just seeing removal in this queen deck is so good. Just really letting me stay alive. And since I don't really have a reason to use teachability, I just swing 6 there. Swing another 6 there and heal with the, I believe that's Big Mom, and then we go 9. We're just kind of trying to get him to give us a blocker, and he is refusing, so a little unfortunate for us. But and I'm looking through trying to see what I've seen, what I haven't seen, and he does use the Nami to block there, and so I'm feeling pretty confident about like the way I've been able to really remove his board, and with the removal with red rocks and gravity blades, just keeping his board clear. And it is very scary having 1 card in life, but I am hoping that we can, because I think if I can live this turn, I think I can get game next turn depending on what he does here. And ideally I think I'd like him to swing with Kid so I can just go aggro. But yeah, he's taking his time to think about it. I mean, I think we know that this is endgame, and he ends up dropping 9 Kaido, which I didn't think about at the time, which is so funny because this is literally the perfect moment for 9 Kaido. And yeah, he pops my blocker, and I remember being like, oh god. And then on top of that, he gets 2 Dawn back because of the Eustace Kid. I was like, oh no. Yeah, so there goes Doflamingo with the Kaido, and I am sweating bullets at this moment. Just not having that blocker, and he's got 3 swings, and I know that I only have 2k counter. So he ends up loading up Kaido and swinging into Yamato, and I gotta let that go. I don't have the counter, unfortunately. But then he swings 6 at lead, and yeah, we end up getting the X-Drake, which I thought that I had the Lin there, but X-Drake, I'll take X-Drake. And now I'm stuck between, do I want to swing for game here and potentially, how do I want to do this, or do I want to drop the X-Drake blocker? What is my best course of action here? And I'm thinking that I have the 6 Lin. I'm not sure if it's worth dropping 6 Lin. But we end up swinging 7, healing a life. I think that's going to be a Katakuri if I'm not mistaken. And he gives us 2k counter. And I'm actually pretty worried at this point. So I end up swinging another 6. And I have 6 set aside because I'm thinking, okay, if I have to, play 6 mom, I will. And he ends up countering out of the teach hit, and we end up taking the life there, and he uses the 0 cost event to actually ramp because he just minus Dawn. So we play 5 and we go ahead and drop the X Drake. I think if we had seen, let's see, I think if we had done yeah, there was a couple options, and I think we could have potentially gotten rid of the kid, but seeing as we didn't have the removal, this is okay. This is okay. And we did set up, so we'll have the Sanji into Yamato, which won't be able to pop anything really, but it will get us a heal if we survive, and that is the scariest part here, is if we survive. Thankfully, we do have the X Drake. He has 1 card in hand, so there's not much. I'm hoping that he doesn't have the removal to get rid of X Drake, which I think logically he doesn't, because what is the removal? 9 Mom? Or not 9, well, 9 Mom and Kaido, but he just Kaido'd, so he's at, what is that, like 7 Dawn? So he attaches a Dawn to Kaido, attaching a couple Dawn to Kaido, swinging into Sanji, and I just feel like I have to let him go. I need my counter, the little counter I have, the 1k counter I have, and the blocker. I need that for my life. So he swings into Teach, clearing board, which I think is a really solid play for him. Because, yeah, I mean, and then he passes turn. So now, because he didn't swing into my life, I don't get the full benefit of Yamato, which is unfortunate to say the least. And so here I'm trying to decide, okay, do I just go, he's got 1 card in hand, I'm gonna swing 7 with Queen because I know he's gonna need 2 cards to counter out, and then I don't get to Queen ability, which kind of stinks, but he ends up blocking, and then I just load the rest on X Drake, and I have to get the swing. And yeah, he had Luffy Taro. So yeah, really close game. Honestly, I think that my opponent could have gotten it a couple times, but I know my opponent is a little bit newer to the game, and when I'm playing some off-meta cheese like Queen, where I think every one of my opponents was like, wait, what does Queen do again? And I had to be like, well, this is their leader ability. When you're playing off-meta stuff, I think it's easier to be a little cheesier. But honestly, I love this deck. It's so much fun. And yeah, so I think we have one more Queen video. I think I'm gonna post one of the L's I got as Queen. I ended up going 2-2, but the last game I won't be posting because I threw really bad. And I know exactly what I did wrong. I was really in control, and I countered out of a hit that I had planned to take, and it cost me the game. So I don't want to relive that trauma. I was pretty bummed. Because I think if I won, I would have gotten second, potentially. But, yeah, so I'm going to post a video against Rager so you guys can see how the aggro matchup goes for that. But that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked this video, hit that like button down below. Helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new. And I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.